this one was not so much, I guess, literary or film, I guess. This one was more musical, I guess. This one, I mean, I was joking earlier with the band about how this is like my midlife crisis record, I guess, because it's like I'm sort of like going back to the music that inspired me and made me want to play guitar and do rock and roll, which, you know, like I grew up as like sort of, you know, a hard rock, heavy metal kid, I guess you could say. Like the first band that I heard that made me want to do music was AC/DC, and, you know, I'm a big Scorpions fan, and UFO, and Diamond Head, and, you know, I guess it's more of a musical inspiration, I guess, from the stuff that I grew up really loving. This album to me has, I mean, it's a harder sound, I guess, in a lot of ways, but it also, to me, it's like, it feels very alive and very direct. I guess maybe, you know, like Angels of Darkness, Demons of Light was done around the time that I had a, you know, serious health crisis, and was sort of, you know, more meditational, I guess, and dealt with, you know, mortality and that kind of stuff, whereas this one I feel really good and I'm really excited. I mean, I'm always excited to be playing music, but like I'm really excited to be, you know, getting to do this, and so it's, to me, it's a very like life affirming album, I guess, in a lot of ways. But yeah, so. I think how it started was the song "Rooks Across the Gate." I originally wrote that for the D.R. Carlson Albion project, because it's like the most folk structured of the songs, and then the lyrics are based on a specific topic in English folklore, and I did it as kind of a murder ballad. And then Adrian really liked the song and didn't want it to go to my solo project. Wanted it as an Earth song, so I kind of rewrote it a bit. But since I'd already written lyrics for it, and I'd wanted to work with Mark for a long time, I've known him, I think, since about '87, and we had talked in the past about working together, and so I asked him, you know, if he'd sing the song, and he said yes, and then he heard some of the other material and wanted to do another song, and so he wrote the lyrics for "There Is a Serpent Coming," which I really, really liked the lyrics of that. Obviously, I took the album title from his lyrics, and the song "From the Zodiacal Light," we originally weren't sure if we were going to use it or not. And Randall Dunn, who mixed the album, had just worked with Rose Windows, and we liked them. You know, I think they're a good band, and I like Rabbia's singing. So Randall asked, you know, said, "Oh, we could talk to her about doing some vocals on that." So she wrote the lyrics for that, and so yeah, it just kind of happened and seemed to fit with the album. This album, like the Angels and of Darkness albums, were very improvised, whereas this album we recorded basic tracks, and then there was I did a lot of guitar overdubs, and the songs were written over the course of the year, so they were definitely very, like, you know, composed songs, I guess. So it suited singing a little easier than our other material. So. And then something new to do, since I always try and do something different on each album. So it just kind of happened sort of organically, I guess, in a way, from that one song. So I think I wanted this album too to be like a guitar record. I mean, obviously I really love guitar, and I'm a guitar player. I've often approached, and I mean, even though the guitar is always sort of what held Earth together, you know, since it's always sort of been about the riff, I've always kind of approached guitar playing in kind of a support supporting the song. And this time around, I kind of wanted to just go back to just a real basic, guitar, bass, and drums, and not use any, extra instrumentation. And then it kind of gives me a chance to sort of like be front and center and step out as a guitar player a bit, I guess. So far, people seem to really, really like the new stuff. It's a more stripped down lineup. We're touring as a trio, just guitar, bass, and drums. I don't know, people seem excited by the new songs. It's kind of a return to a more hard rock, heavy metal sound of Earth of yore. But yeah, so far the people seem to really like it. So, what's exciting about live is it's different every time. Even if you're playing the same songs or even in the same order, like some nights the energy's there, and I've learned too, like what I think about a show doesn't really matter, because like there'll be nights where I think, oh, that was a great show. But then, other people are like, man, that wasn't such a good show, or, and the nights where I think, oh, that was such a hard show, I played really bad, but the audience thought it was amazing. So it's like I've learned, if the audience liked it, if the audience had a good time, if the audience found it transcendent or whatever, then that's what happened, because you're just, you're doing it, so you're not really objective. But yeah, to me each show is a unique moment in time and a unique experience, and you're meeting people for the first time, and they're hearing you, some of them for the first time, others have seen you 20 times, and it all combines to make a moment that will never be again. So it's very different doing a soundtrack in a certain way than a record. They gave me pretty much free rein. They were sending me like rough versions of the film as they were doing it, and then I would write to it. So it was a very improvised thing. I had some themes that I thought up and that fit certain parts, but then other parts were more improvised. But then after I had finished, well, not finished it, but made a finished version, when the director had the finished cut, he came down to the studio and we watched it together, and then he was like, oh, I'd like a different theme for this part, or can we use this part over here? And ultimately, when you're doing a soundtrack for an actual film, it's not like making a record where it's like when I make a record, I'm doing it for me, whereas this, I'm doing it to serve someone else's vision. And so ultimately it's the film is the most important, and what the director wants is the most important part of it. So you have to kind of take a step back and not get defensive and not be like, oh, what do you mean, what's wrong? So you have to be kind of more like, okay, I like what I did, but they want something a little different, and so I'll do that. And but yeah, I really enjoyed it. I would love to do more if the opportunity arises. I've always loved film, and so yeah, if I get to do more, that would be great. I started the solo thing because I wanted, the Angels records, obviously were the very folk influenced, and I got really into the English folklore and that stuff, and I'm still interested in that. But I decided to do it as a solo project because I wanted Earth to be able to do what Earth does, which might be different. I don't think either one detracts from the other. It's when Earth's not doing stuff, I can do the solo stuff, and when Earth's doing stuff, I can still the solo thing's on a much smaller scale, so it's a little easier to do stuff in a certain way. Like I can do stuff more off the cuff with it, whereas like Earth projects obviously involve, you know, other people and planning, and it's more involved. But so yeah, I mean they're kind of, I mean it's nice having both open to me, and the more I can do, the better I think it is for in general. You know, each project helps my playing and helps, you know, keep me going, I guess. So yeah, I mean I'll probably, I mean I don't know what's in the works for the solo side of things yet, but you know, Earth, the new album's coming out, so there'll be a lot of Earth touring, and then during the downtime I'll probably be working on solo stuff, so, or writing new Earth material. Like I've already written 3 new songs for Earth, so I already got the next album in mind, so yeah.